What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Busy Sticks, the Geekiverse's all video game talk show. We're also streaming live, twitch.tv/the Geekiverse. So we're doing this for the first time just to see how it goes, get some people involved in the chat. If you join us, thank you so much. Otherwise, odds are you're watching this at youtube.com/the Geekiverse or listening on podcast services, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Josiah Leroy. With me as always, what would you do without John Fick in your life? John Fick, what a hoodie that is.
Oh, thank you.
By the way,
not the first time it's made an appearance on this show, I don't think, but I'll take the compliment.
I don't know about Busy Sticks. I've seen it on Geekiverse. I can't remember. It's all a blur. But I feel like every time it's present, I want to talk about it because it's pretty, you know.
I'll take it. I mean, I've been talking about 3D Mario for the last couple of weeks on the show, but I am a poser and I've only played like 12 minutes of Mario Sunshine, so whatever. I still love it. Great shirt.
John, combined, you and I have played 12 minutes of Mario Sunshine. It's great.
Wow, thanks for really helping out with that one.
You're carrying the load on that one for us. I'm gonna get to it eventually. Maybe at some point this year, I'm gonna have a lull. There always tends to be a lull for me at some point throughout the year, and I'm like, what should I play that's been sitting on my shelf forever? I feel like that might be it.
For sure.
But we'll see. So, ladies and gentlemen, we never really struggle for news, but this week is a little different. We've got kind of I don't want to overuse this term, but this is a bombshell. Later in the show, we're going to talk about a little company you might have heard called Microsoft buying another little company in the form of bringing in Activision and all of its studios under Xbox Game Studios. Quite the shell shock. When John sent that into our Geekiverse chat yesterday morning, I had no indication, no idea that this was coming. What a drop. We're going to talk about that later in the show. We're going to talk about the question of the week, what we talked about last week, what we asked you, the listener, on social media. We want to get your answer to that. We've got some new trailers for Horizon Forbidden West, as well as the Cuphead Netflix show we're going to chat about. But first, we're not only obsessed with video games here at the Geekiverse, we also like beer. So, John, what's about to be in your system here?
What's about to be in your system? We just got a new follower, but I turned their alerts off for the show. So whoever that was, thank you. I appreciate it. What's about to be in my system? Great question. My favorite topic of the week every week here. I'm going for a big one this week. It's a heavy hitter. This has been sitting in the cellar for quite a bit. This is a Bourbon County Stout. So Goose Island puts out Bourbon County once a year. It's a stout that they have aging in bourbon barrels, and they release it yearly. This is the 2020 release. So not only was it sitting in a bourbon barrel for a year, it's been sitting in this bottle for 2 years after that. So it's been cooking. It's been cooking quite a bit. I grab these every year. It's like a thing. The release day is always fun because they make different flavors, and those flavors are always tough to find. I never find them because I never want to get up and wait in line. People are waiting outside of Wegmans at like 7 o'clock for them to open and like get the different flavors of this beer. But throughout the week, these are always available. So I always grab a bunch of them, and I'm cracking into a 2020 because it's a special day.
Damn, dude, that is like the bar for fancy beers that we've had in our short run of Busy Sticks.
It's a fun one.
Like, dang, that is amazing. I'm gonna start pouring mine here. I feel like a twerp, I don't have anything fancy, but I gotta say, this is a favorite of mine. So I did make a pit stop today at our local consumers, and this one is from Brickyard Brewing Company. If you don't know about them, they're in Lewiston, New York. They went through a bit of a rough spell, to say the least, last year. They had a fire in the restaurant / brewery. Really was a devastating thing. However, they never stopped making great beer. If you're ever in the area, so if you're not familiar, it's very close to Niagara Falls. Everyone knows Niagara Falls. Go check them out, Brickyard Brewing Company. It's called Bat Snacks. There's the can right there. This is a sour, kind of light. You're looking at mid-range, 5.5%. This is technically a guava blackberry sour. Not something I think I'd normally gravitate towards in terms of like guava or blackberry. But I got to say, the blend is really good. It's a good mix of sweet and tart here. I'm kind of a sour connoisseur. I'm a big fan of this. John, I've got it in my special glass here. First of all, why don't I say cheers?
Cheers,
cheers to you, my friend.
This is also my favorite glass that I own, that I very rarely use because they're very difficult to find. This is a Bender, one of the very first glass-to-mouth beers.
I was just going to say, look at this guy. Baba Yaga over here. He's
coming
bringing out all the fancy stuff today.
Coming out fancy. And not only that, once again, I'm carrying us in the ABV department because last week you were a flat 0 because you had to go and be sick and not be good enough to drink some beers. And this week you're pulling it out. What was that again? ABV on that?
I don't want to say again.
This
5.5. Let's do some math here. What do you got?
I got 10 on you.
Oh my gosh!
Before this
Meaning
thing,
it's 10 or it's 15.
it's 15. This is a thing.
Well, damn, son. Listen, you and I are very often on the same page, which is why we make for good friends. We make for good partners when it comes to the Geekiverse. But I want to tell you, John, everybody, if you don't know, he's my beer advisor. He kind of, every time I'm looking for something, I ask him, hey, what do I want here? He just knows. But where I'm going with this is we both had what I consider a fancy glass. I've got my Baby Groot and Baby Yoda here. John's got one of his early glass to mouths. He's got a fancy ass beer, 15%. My gosh.
It's a sipper.
What we didn't talk about pre-show is, John, we've got some celebrating to do here at the Geekiverse and Busy Sticks. We do. And I want you to share with the listeners why you and I have just been on cloud nine really for the better part of the last week. John, this is all you, man.
Yeah,
share why you and I are so excited.
This is huge. Okay, so next Friday, wow, that's about a week away. We are going to have a very special guest on this podcast. We are going to have no introduction necessary, but his name is Greg Miller from Kind of Funny. Such a cool opportunity. I don't think it's crazy to say that he's like our biggest inspiration for what we do. Both of us, the two of us, we both love Kind of Funny content, and I'm just all about the Kind of Funny best friend community. I'm super engrossed in it, and this opportunity wouldn't have been possible without them, because the way this happened is they raised a certain amount of money on Patreon for Greg to come and spend some time on community podcasts, and we were selected to be one of those. So we filled out a little form. We applied for it. I've been a patron for years, so I was in that pool of people, and we got selected. We're one of 10. So next Friday, Mr. Greg Miller is going to sit down and talk video games with us on Busy Sticks. If I understand everything correctly, it looks like it's going to be broadcasted live on the Kind of Funny Games Twitch page. I think what Greg is doing is he's just going live for the day, and he's just going to be hopping in and out of Discord calls, and that's just going to be raw recorded, that whole process. So it's not going to be like a produced thing that's live, but we'll be on there. We'll be talking with him, and we will certainly locally record that, and have our templates and stuff like that, and it'll be all prettied up for posting on YouTube and podcast services around the globe.
Dude, it's a special episode for us. We're only going to be 8-9 episodes in, a baker's dozen by that time. It's so surreal that that's happening. So John, you've had the opportunity to be around Greg Miller in a few times over the years in terms of being a Kind of Funny patron, just a fan over the years. I've been lucky enough. I got to meet him at E3. I can't believe what happened. So Geekiverse was there 2017, and we kind of were like, hey, pipe dream, who's everybody want to meet? Like, who are, like, if you ran into anybody, who would it be? And I'm like, for me, it'd be Phil Spencer and Greg Miller. That would make my day. I mean, among other people, but those are the two. So we all split up. We're all covering different things. I'm who knows where. I get a text from Adam, who was one of our guys at the time. It was, you're never going to believe who I just ran into. He goes, I was taking a break, like in one of the Apex off to the side, talking to Phil Spencer. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I was so upset. Not 10 minutes later, Seth, former member of the Geekiverse, in our group chat says, you're never going to believe who I saw. I'm like, don't you say it. He goes, Greg Miller. I just talked with him for 20 minutes. Like, he did some video with us. I was losing my mind. It was like a setup. So I did have a second chance. Later on in the day, they were about to go live. And prior to that, I just, thanks to Seth meeting Greg, we worked our way up backstage, and I saw Greg, and I kind of became speechless, which I think is hard to believe, right? Because I never shut up. But I saw Greg, and I went up to him. I'll tell him this story again on the show next week. But I said, I'm such a fan. Thank you for everything you do. I started something that you were just on called the Geekiverse, and it exists because of you. And I was struggling for words after that, and he just did this, and then he hugged me, and I was like, oh my gosh, dude. And then he said, go get him, Tiger. And I was like, hey, that's so special coming from someone you've listened to, whether you're back on IGN in the glory days there or on Kind of Funny. So anyway, thanks for that tangent, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk with Greg Miller of Kind of Funny Games next Friday. We hope you tune in. It's going to be really, really special for John and I. All right, John. Show and tell. Your week here.
Oh, yeah.
What are we showing off?
All right, so this is going to be a two-parter. There will be another part to this show and tell. It's not going to be, probably not even my next time. Maybe my next time, because you're going to go next week. So I got 2 weeks to maybe get there. Maybe. But my wife and I have been working on something special. One of the coolest things I've ever built. Okay, no, this is the coolest thing I've ever built. I don't build much in my life. But this is the Lego Super Nintendo. This thing.
Look at that.
Are you kidding me? And like, it looks impressive the way it is right here, but the intricacies, the amount of pieces, we're building this thing. We're just following instructions. We're like, no clue how that's going to turn into an NES until like hour 8. And we're like, oh, I get it. What's going on in here is insane. So it opens up, separate piece. You've got a Super Mario Brothers cartridge, which is also obviously Lego. It goes in. There's a mechanism with a spring loading that locks it in. You push down, pops right out. So the game goes in there like that. Also got the controller, which plugs into the front, which I might not be able to show perfectly, but plugs into the front. It's just absolutely insane. And my favorite part, which I wish wasn't spoiled for me, but I watched a couple of like unboxings and reviews of this before I like pulled the plug on the price tag, which I'll mention in a second. But over here, there's a hidden panel that if you pop off, is a hidden Mario level.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just chilling there right behind one of the side panels. I mean, like, it's just so cool. I mean, it's got like the auxiliary in and out over here. Like everything you can think of, it's here. You pulled this thing up to a regular NES, like it's just like a 1-for-1 recreation. It's so cool.
That is very detailed.
It is. It's nuts. It's nuts. And the reason I say that it's a two-parter is because that is literally only half of the Lego set. We still have to build the CRT TV. Josiah, this thing has a crank on the side, and the Mario level moves. It's on a track.
Oh my!
And Mario jumps accordingly. He jumps over the gaps. He jumps on the Goombas. It is insane. So this is part 2. This is the whole set. I think is like 2,000 something pieces, and I think it's pretty evenly split piecewise. So I think this is like 1,000 something. That's 1,000 something. That's still in the bag right there. We haven't tackled that, but look at how thick the manual is for these bad boys.
Dude, that's like a coffee book table. First of all,
absolutely.
Second of all, yeah, you got some homework, man. You got a few weeks here. You get it.
No doubt.
My gosh.
Yeah. So we'll bring that back and we'll show off the whole thing. But I couldn't just sit on this and not show it off. We finished it last night, and I just haven't stopped opening it and like popping the game in and out and like looking at that secret panel. It's so cool. It's so cool.
That is beautiful, man. Nicely done. Good job to you and Courtney on that one.
Thanks, man. Not cheap. Like I was saying, price tag $229. That's expensive. Legos are not cheap, man.
I was gonna ask, how much did that set you back?
Yeah.
Wow. I want like man. I would say if I could choose a different one, I would love to see like an original PlayStation version of that.
That'd be super cool. I hope cool. I hope they keep up the relationship with Nintendo and they do the SNES and the 64 and a Game Boy and all sorts of stuff like that. Because it seems like this is like just the beginning of the relationship with Nintendo. So that would be very cool.
You know what? Give me a Lego Mario video game. That would be a blast.
Oh my God.
They both platform beautifully, right? Like Mario's the king of platformers. Lego does a really nice job with it, even though they're doing something different with Traveler's Tales with the new Star Wars game. Man,
that's a great idea.
Lego Mario game.
I mean, you're telling me that Nintendo's going to shell out Mario for the Rabbids, but not Lego? Make that happen.
Yeah, get out of here. Like,
Come on.
That's ridiculous.
They both have all the money in the world. They can make it happen.
Sign me up. Nintendo's been more receptive to some of these partnerships over the years, and they've had some nice collaborations. So I'm more hopeful than ever for the future when it comes to that stuff. Damn.
Yeah, my office.
Just raising the bar constantly here.
I guess so. That's the theme of this episode. We put a whole table up here just so we had like a safe space to build Lego, because like this took us multiple nights, and we have 2 cats that would just destroy Lego pieces if we left them out. So we have to close this room down after we're done. Much like having a toddler, I assume. But
yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd have to really hide that from Daisy.
Right.
One day, dude. Nicely done. We talked about what is going to be in our system in the form of beer. What is in your video game system? Whether that is your Nintendo Switch, your PS5, whatever you find yourself playing. John, I feel like I got to lead off
Go
because
for it.
I need to talk about it. I finally got my hands on Life is Strange: True Colors, and man, it is. John did not overhype this game, ladies and gentlemen. This is everything that he said it was and more. It has just struck a chord with me so nicely. It's masterful writing. I've never cared about video game characters as quickly as I have this cast of characters. And in the first episode, by the way, so there's 5 episodes slash chapters that are a part of this, because former Life is Strange games, they used to be episodic. These are all in one, even though they kind of are still episodic. But that first episode, right off the bat, like the whole community, Haven is a beautiful backdrop. A cast of characters I care about, like I said, which is so crazy because usually it takes some time in some bigger narrative games to do that. This has struck a chord for me where I've really appreciated a lot of Quantic Dream games in terms of their storytelling. Like I see some parallels there. Obviously, we see some of the inspiration with how dialogue happens, how some of the not really quick time events, but some of the lesser, I guess, there's not really a lot of action in it, right? Like this is a lot of point and click. I've also rarely played a game where I wanted to discover everything that I possibly could, and really not just for the trophies. Like there's a lot of times where I grind for PlayStation trophies playing this on PS5. This is not the case. Like I want to know more about the lore that you find in symbols throughout, whether you're at the record store and you're picking up a record, or you're talking about a funny memory in Alex's apartment. I can go on and on about this. John, I don't know if you know this. I'm done with chapter 4.
Oh, wow.
Like I'm moving quickly here.
You're cruising.
It doesn't feel like it's not a long game, but it doesn't feel like I've played this for, I don't know, 6 hours already, 6, 7, maybe somewhere in that time. Like I'm really taking my time with it and going through and looking at everything. But so I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't played the game, because I really think you should go play it now. But the twist that I kind of sort of didn't really see coming, like that's been amazing. I can't wait to see what happens here as I get into episode 5. Man, Alex Chen, one of my favorite video game characters in a long time. Just right. This is bar none the best Life is Strange game ever, and I only say that from my experience with having played a few chapters of the previous games. I could gush about this all day. And John, I hope you feel happy that I'm feeling this way about the game.
I'm so relieved that it hit with you, because I was worried that I was overhyping it, making it my game of the year for 2021, and talking about it the way that I have. But I had a feeling it would hit with you. I just know that we like the same kind of games, and there's just something special about it, man. Like the narrative mixed with the environment, mixed with the music, everything just like it just feels so cohesive, and you just feel like you're there, man. It's such a cool game. And I think even saying like it's the best Life is Strange game is almost, it's not a disservice, but it's almost not even enough, because it's a lot of people don't like Life is Strange. A lot of people have tried that franchise out and have abandoned it. I was one of those people. I didn't get through any Life is Strange game before this. If you've done that and you haven't gotten down with those games, give this a shot if you like narrative games at all. They do a lot to reinvent the formula for sure.
I could not agree more with that. I should be clear too. I'm not a fan of the previous Life is Strange games. Having played what I did, it's not Life is Strange, but it kind of sort of feels like it. I played Tell Me Why when that released on Xbox last year. I thought that was a very good game, and I appreciated that. This is still a whole new level. Like there's something about it. I don't know how to put it. Like I don't feel like it's, I don't know if this is the right word. It doesn't feel judgmental to me. It just feels like it's trying to tell a good, meaningful story. Like the whole thing is Alex has the power, they call it, of empathy. So she can read people's emotions. She can feel people's emotions for better or worse, whether they're livid or they've got this all-consuming sadness, or even they're really joyous about something. But she uses the power for good, so to speak, because she's at heart a good person. And I think it's so nice how it addresses some really serious things out there that nothing feels like it's politicized, anything like that. It feels like this is just about being a good person.
It's very natural.
Yes, very natural is a good way to put it. Just the backdrop. You mentioned the music. Oh, the music is so good in this. Like, if you can imagine Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist in a video game, like this company would make that video game. And this is Deck 9, by the way. I think this is their first Life is Strange, if I'm not mistaken.
Didn't they make Before the Storm?
I don't recall. I could be wrong on that. I know they didn't make Life is Strange 1 or 2 specifically,
That was Don't Nod, and
but
Don't Nod made Tell Me Why, and I think they went and made
yes.
so deck 9. I think they made Before the Storm.
Okay. If that's the case, I need to play Before the Storm.
Yeah, they made Before the Storm, and they also did the work on Life is Strange Remastered, which is a part of this release actually. So that's not really relevant, but yep.
I do want to. It's funny, like it's given me a new lease on wanting to play the older games, including the remaster that is coming out shortly. And then there's DLC. I think it's based on
Steph's Mission.
which
Yeah, did you play that, or did you Did you buy it?
no, I didn't buy. I think it was. I don't know if that was like a special edition.
I think you
Anyway,
could have bought like a special edition version, and then but you can also just buy it separately.
I want to say it's only like $12. So it's something I think I'm gonna do as soon as I'm done with this. But man, just can't recommend it enough. John, you were spot on with this. It would have been on my list for game of the year. I don't think that I necessarily would have had it above Halo or even Deathloop, for example. But I can 100% appreciate why you had it at the top of your list, John. It's just so exciting. So yeah, can't wait to play that and finish that off before I dive back into. Oh, I should mention that I finished Resident Evil 7 since we last talked. I'm still here to live and breathe and talk about it. Holy crap, is that a scary game? Like, yeah, Resident Evil's scary, right? But I don't know how people play that in VR because first person with headset on, you like that shit crazy, man. it's no thanks.
So how'd you like it overall? What were your thoughts on that?
That was really good. It very much harkens back to the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. Takes elements from those that work. I cannot speak to the original games because I never played them, but this is all about survival horror. It is about those jump scares around every corner. There's no music. It's silent. You hear every crack in the house, every little poof from a distance. It's incredible audio design. I can't tell you how many times I jumped knowing stuff was happening. And then there were certain sequences where I'm facing a boss in the game and I died a few times. And even though I would start the sequence over and know when they were going to jump out, like I still kind of like cringed a little bit. Just, man, really good stuff. I did pick up Resident Evil Village. So after my little vacation here with Life is Strange, I'm going back to it, which I'm a crazy man, but I'm going to get it over with. My goal is to finish Life is Strange, Resident Evil Village, and then jump into Uncharted Legacy of Thieves when that comes out in about 10 days or so. Okay. So I got some homework.
Got a full schedule ahead.
Full schedule. I gotta get all this done before the baby comes. It's a very tight schedule.
Yeah.
What do you got in your system?
So still on my kick, still here with Mario. I reported last time that I finished Mario 3D World 100%. I forgot if I said I was going to start Galaxy or something. I think I said I started Galaxy. I decided to backtrack on that a bit and play Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury bundled in with 3D World. So I'm like, you know what? Might as well just stick with this and clear this game cart, if you will, 100%. Bowser's Fury is. I'm a little underwhelmed. I almost said disappointed. That's too strong of a word. I'm a little underwhelmed coming from 3D World. I just think I like 3D World better. So spending like 20, 30 hours, 100% of that game, and then going into Bowser's Fury. I honestly, to me, it's more about like some of the conveniences, like not being able to track which cat shines I've gotten at a certain shrine. Like some of them are layered, so like I don't know if this has 2 levels to it, so I have to come back and all of a sudden there'll just be another one available. It's just a little cumbersome to navigate the game and know how I'm progressing. I've finished the main story. I rolled credits. I beat Big Bowser and stuff like that. I think I've got about like 73 of the cat shines out of 100, so I'm making my way through it. The level design is fun. I will say getting from level to level, how it's all water-based is not my favorite, which means maybe I won't like Mario Sunshine too much. Sorry, Jimmy. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. But I'm still, that's just my couch game. That's when I've got really nothing going on, I'm just cruising away Mario 3D platformer games. That's been my addiction lately. Other than that, I did hop back into Fortnite because there's something big going on. They brought back Tilted Towers. Tilted Towers is a point of interest on the map that was part of the original OG map that was like this big city. And I'm explaining because Josiah doesn't do Fortnite much. Everybody else that's listening is like, John, we know what Tilted Towers is. But
John, come on. You're talking to...
I am talking to Mr.
Unbeaten champ here.
Undefeated at Fortnite. 1-0.
Fortnite's my middle name. Josiah Fortnite Leroy. It's crazy.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I'm gonna rebrand my online persona to be Joe Knight. So
Oh
you know,
boy.
I'm workshopping some of it,
You
but
might want to
don't you
workshop
worry.
that one a little bit more. Tilted is back. Tilted was like the original like meta POI, point of interest. Like that was the spot everybody landed because there was tons of buildings. It was basically like a huge metropolitan city in the middle of this map. So Tilted Towers, you would always just drop in, and out of 100 people, at least 25 people were heading to Tilted. If you wanted to fight, you drop Tilted. That's how it's always been. That's been gone for like years now. We're on chapter 3 of Fortnite. Tilted Towers has not been around in forever. So bringing it back was a pretty huge deal. Kind of feel like Fortnite's just like, you know, drying up the well a little bit with ideas here, so they're going to start bringing back the old stuff. I'm sure we'll get the whole old map eventually, just for nostalgia's sake. But it's been fun just to hop back. Speaking of nostalgia, that's all I've been feeling dropping into Tilted Towers, making me feel like it's 2017 again. But that's been fun.
Here's me here sitting listening to all of that, being like, I have no idea what John's talking about.
Words, okay. POIs, all right, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that was great.
The meta POI, perfect.
Right. No idea at all. Just right over. I'm happy that you're having fun with it, though. Again, I always appreciate when people are passionate or enjoy gaming of any sort. So
yeah, so I gotta get into something new. I gotta get into like a new AAA story game on my television. You know, not a Switch game, not Fortnite, which is just like a pick up and play. You know, play for 20 minutes and rage quit kind of game. I just don't know what to do at the moment. I've been thinking about maybe heading down your path and going Resident Evil. I got them both. I've got Village and I've got 7. I've got them installed on my PlayStation actually. So that's an option, but Horizon's so close. I don't know what to do.
Dude,
I don't know what to do.
John, come on. What better time? We can talk about how just deathly afraid we both were. Watch you play Resident Evil and you're just like, yeah, it wasn't that scary, Joe. It's fine.
How long would you say it took you to beat 7?
Oh man, I took forever. I want to say I clocked in 12, 13 hours. Like, in the scheme of things, that's not a long video game. For Resident Evil, that's a long game. Because 2 remake was 7 or 8 hours. I just found myself exploring everything. And it's so out of character for me in these last 2 games here with Life is Strange and Resident Evil. I just wanted to know everything.
Okay.
So you could get it in. You could definitely power through it in about a week or 2. We got a little over a month till Horizon comes out. So
right. Well,
if nothing,
my other issue was I wanted to start Mass Effect. The Legacy Collection's out, man, or what's it called, Legendary Collection. So there's that. I get to that point where I've got too many options, and I just get into this paralysis, and I pick nothing. I just play Fortnite and Mario. So I gotta find something.
I love Mass Effect dearly. That trilogy is so just ingrained in my heart. We've talked about this. I don't know how I would feel about it if I was just approaching it now.
Right.
Maybe I'd play it and be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is basically the best elements of Star Wars and Star Trek, and it's all rolled into this crazy, unique universe. But I may also find it clunky. I don't know. So I'd be interested to hear your point of view if you do take the dive into that at some point.
We'll see.
One thing I forgot to mention, I'm happy that I took a note on it. So last thought on Life is Strange. One of the trophies. So a lot of trophies you get are from finding these kind of these items throughout the world that have memories ingrained in them. One is a drum set. So I play the drums. I've been just a drummer my entire life. Ironically enough, there is, when you find the drum set in this chapter and you get the memory done, the trophy's called Count Me In, based on something one of the characters said. Back in the day, I was in a band called Letter Set. One of our favorite songs was called Count Me In. So I think that is just, I saw it and I was like, oh no, Chris, that's amazing. That's love cool. That. I did not know that Deck 9 were such fans of Letter Set. It's so crazy.
Hey man, that Steph that runs the record shop, is she's into this really underground indie music. Maybe.
I never considered that. I gotta go back to the record store, see if I can find Sequel. Get it on vinyl. Didn't even know it existed. Find Long Hair Josiah. All right, question of the week. So, John, we got some really, really good response on social media here. What we asked you on the last episode of Busy Sticks, what will be the most critically acclaimed game of 2022? So a game that we think will come out this year. What do you think? Whatever that means to you, whether it's got the best reception from fans, it's got the best vibes out there, it's got the best review scores. You tell us. John, do you want to start with some of the that we had on TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, I almost kind of want to attack this from a consensus point of view. I mean, obviously we'll get into some specifics and shout some comments out, but I feel like there was really 3 games that were pretty equally voted for. I think it was just from what I'm seeing. So I posted a TikTok, so you can follow us on TikTok. I've been having fun over there at the Geekiverse on TikTok. It's basically a dead tie between Breath of the Wild sequel, if that comes out, and that's always what people are, prefacing that with, Elden Ring, and God of War Ragnarok. Those are the 3 that I've seen, and I can't say it that I've seen one more than the other based on what I've seen from TikTok comments, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, which is where we post that question every week. So, what do you got?
So I posted it not only in our Buffalo Gaming Geeks group, but I also did my personal Facebook, and I had some really great responses. I got a lot of what you just mentioned there, whether it was Ragnarok or Breath of the Wild or Elden Ring. Elden Ring's huge, man. Oh my gosh, crazy. I was telling Tim today because he's excited about that game, and I'm like, I want to be there. I know we've talked about that, but I want to watch Tim stream that game. Like that's where I'm at. Like I think that would be fun. Because I don't feel like that's a game that I want to dive into myself, but I want to see what it's about. You know what I mean?
That'd be fun to hang out in a Discord call with him and just watch him as he plays it, and just like be on a stream together and just chat about it. Because I feel like I'm in the same boat where I want to experience that game, but I don't know if it's for me. But again, I've from what I'm seeing, this is supposed to be the most casual and most inviting Soulsborne, or From Software, I should say, game for people to try out. So we'll see. I'm open to it.
If the lore is as impressive as it seems to be, that will possibly sway my opinion.
We've got it. So we'll get to the Facebook in a second. We've got a live answer from one of our very old friends, True King, the Platinum King himself, Mr. Rashawn. He says,
"Get that 3 loving buffoon out of here, Rashawn. What's up, my man?"
So he's
right, John, sorry.
No, you're good. He's in our live chat right now, hanging out on Twitch, and he says Elden Ring. So he's pumped about Elden Ring. Like I said, man, everyone wants that game to be the game of the year, and I can't say I disagree that it will be.
Well, maybe instead of watching Tim, we'll watch our friend Hollywood over here go ahead and stream that. Rashawn, out in California, we miss you, man. Good to hear from you. So on Facebook, I had all those games, but I had a few kind of honorable mentions, and one that was recurring a few times. Guys, as a community, you make me so proud. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga.
That is totally that is totally a result of your friendships right there. That is because that was on your personal Facebook, and that is where the people you surround yourself with.
Hey, no, people were saying it in the Buffalo Game Geeks too. It wasn't just my own Facebook.
All right, okay.
Whatever. So Derek, not Derek Kramer, he said if it actually comes out, that's going to be his. We got Breath of the Wild sequel. We got a Starfield. We got a Starfield from former Geekiverse Jeff Beta.
2023, baby. Probably going to be most best game of 2023.
11/23. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Oh my gosh, man! Can you imagine the minds blowing out there? Let's see. Arceus. How do we say that's pronounced? Arceus? Arceus?
Arceus has been right my entire life, and then all of a sudden Nintendo puts out a trailer and says Arceus, and I just don't. I'm not on board with that. So sorry, Nintendo. It's Arceus.
I do love Beta's comment, by the way. He says Starfield will hands down be the most acclaimed, or it will be Cyberpunk 2.0.
Oh boy,
and I love that. I think there's no in between.
There's no in between. You know what? That I honestly, it's a Bethesda game. I think there's plenty of in between. I think the in between is the only actual option. That's my guess.
So, I thought CD Projekt Red was unstoppable. I felt like they couldn't release a game that people would just be like, "Oh my gosh!" And I think same with Bethesda to a degree.
But they did that already, though. They did it with Fallout 76. They've been there, done that.
Yeah,
it was a pretty big deal for when that happened. I mean, it was first of all the decision to do that, to make an online Fallout game, which like from the get go looked like it wasn't really going to have much of a gameplay loop, and people were concerned about. And then to launch it the way they did, it's a pretty big stand on Bethesda.
I agree to a point. I just think.
Oh, it was much bigger with the way it was much bigger. I mean, like, of course it's bigger, but I think the example.
In hindsight now,
Yeah,
I don't remember any of the rest of it. I just remember CD Projekt Red, you know?
It's tough to compare the two, but I think that the last example before CD Projekt Red was Bethesda with Fallout 76. A few more in chat. Josh Gav, he's thinking that that Elden Ring is already cursed because the hype games always fall flat lately. Maybe possible. I think From Software hasn't missed. They know what their fans want. They give them those tough games. They know what's going on. Tank Newton, good friend of the show, actually came up with a name for the show, Busy Sticks. Tank Newton. He says The Last of Us Factions. That would be a cool one if it dropped. I don't know if it's going to be the most critically acclaimed game of the year, even if it does drop, but I'm still pumped for that.
I love this one on Facebook. Jesse Powers, again, another former Geekiverse. Look at this, all these alumni here.
Yep.
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. I'm tired of waiting. Amen, Jesse. Had nothing to do with our friendship, John. What else we got? I think that's about it. Oh, one person did mention as a secondary Hogwarts Legacy.
That's going to be a fun one. I'm super excited for that game. And had we been talking about, most anticipated games for our personal taste, sure, that's in my list. But most critically acclaimed game of 2022, when we've got possible heavy hitters like Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild sequel, and God of War Ragnarok, tough to talk about Hogwarts.
I know. I mentioned last week that I think if Breath of the Wild sequel comes out, that is going to be it. I just feel like there's so much goodwill towards that franchise right now, as there has been for a while. But past that, selfishly, it's Ragnarok for me. I just God of War is near perfect. I can't talk enough about it. I'm definitely going to play it again before the sequel comes out. Although I said that about Horizon and we're a month away, and I'm not going to have time to play that. So is what it is.
Right.
So question of the week, what we want to ask you, the community, this week. We with Sony, how should they retaliate here? It's kind of funny. What studio should they purchase after seeing what has just transpired this week?
Do they need to respond? That's also a sub question. Do they even need to respond? But if they were, who would be a fun one? What would be a fun one for them to do? There's three left, right? We've got EA, we've got Ubisoft, and we've got Take-Two. That's who else is out there publishing games on that scale?
It should be Take-Two, and Red Dead 3 will be PlayStation exclusive.
Oh my God.
Mark my words.
They would do it too. They would make it exclusive. Yeah.
And no one would bat an eye, is the thing. How funny is that? Everyone is like, oh, Microsoft's going to make it all exclusive. No, they're not. They're not. That's not the...
We're going to talk about that.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the news, John.
Big news story.
So, little indie developer here. They've made a little box-shaped console or two in their time. Xbox Game Studios purchases Activision. Do I have to even say any more?
Are you kidding me? I would never thought it's possible. If you were to tell me anybody was going to purchase Activision Blizzard, I would be like, no, you're crazy. They're printing money. They've got Call of Duty and Overwatch and Diablo and World of Warcraft. What are they selling? What are you, nuts? I know they're having a lot of cultural issues right now, leadership issues, but what are they selling for? You're nuts. It happened.
John,
it happened.
$68 billion is the intent of this purchase here. To put that in perspective, I think Mr. George Lucas needs to go back to Disney and say, hey, Mickey, you screwed me over here. Star Wars was sold in 2012 for $4 billion.
Yeah.
Chump change to these fools.
That's basically the amount to round up to 70 in this conversation.
Right. I'm pretty sure. I looked at so many studio numbers this week. Obviously, we saw Bethesda last year. In ZeniMax, that was $7.5 billion. Thought that was pretty bonkers.
It's huge.
Well, Microsoft basically said, wait till you see this, folks. With even back in, whatever year it was, Disney purchases Marvel Entertainment.
Yeah.
There was $2 or $3 billion, I want to say.
Right, and obviously things have changed in a lot of ways. First of all, inflation, huge thing, but also just I think the value of these IPs and realizing what you can produce, especially with a company like Activision, and you're seeing how long you can continue to produce money on a game like Call of Duty. I mean, not even just the fact that you sell a new copy every year, but the millions of dollars per week that they're probably making on microtransactions. It's just like the value is. I mean, who am I to sit here and say that $68 billion was worth it? I can't fathom what that means in terms of someone's business plan and how to implement, see if they got a bang for their buck. But obviously that they know what they're doing.
How crazy is that to think like that's an investment
Yeah.
that they will make that money back and more according to their projections. Otherwise, you don't do it.
Right.
We saw Disney make it back pretty quickly with Star Wars with the success of those movies. Think about this too. Like the game has changed. I think a lot of people don't realize this. We're not buying games to make Xbox exclusive titles in a lot of ways. We're buying this so that these games will be first and predominant on
Game Pass.
Xbox platforms, whether that's your phone, your tablet, your computer. Hey, if you bought an Xbox, that's great. Microsoft doesn't care about that. They just want you playing Xbox Game Studio games, which is going to include titles such as Call of Duty.
There's so much to talk about, and we're going to get into all of it, but that's the biggest topic that we just got to touch on. It's all over the internet. Our Activision game is going to be exclusive to Xbox going forward, and there's so many people saying, of course they are. Look at Bethesda. Of course they are. The phrase that I keep seeing people say is, you don't spend $70 billion to not make those games exclusive. What? You don't spend $70 billion to cut off half of the revenue stream for the most popular franchises. You think they're going to make Call of Duty exclusive to the Xbox when it sells millions of copies on the PlayStation and millions of dollars a week in microtransactions? I bet. I get it. The Xbox, this is a huge win. It's great, but there's no, I don't think there's any chance that games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, any of those main pillars of Activision, there's no chance that those are exclusive to Xbox. And again, call me a Sony pony. Say that, I'm sad about this. I got an Xbox. I'm pumped about it. I can't wait to get all that stuff on Game Pass, but it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
So with even Bethesda, I think this is such a new deal itself that just happened there. I don't think you're going to see a lot of exclusivity. I think you're going to see new IPs maybe be exclusive. But if anything, a purchase like this with Activision, I think you're going to see those games on more platforms.
Yeah, for sure. Joe got a little robotic there, but you were talking about the purchase of Bethesda, and you don't think that there's going to be too much exclusivity, but maybe other than new IP. And I'm with you there. We've already gotten the semi-announcement allusion to the fact that Starfield's going to be an Xbox exclusive. That's a new IP. That's something that makes sense. I don't see them taking games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls away from these platforms. And even if they did, even if that was the decision they made, that makes more sense than games like Call of Duty and things like that. You're talking about single player games that are going to sell one copy, right? You're going to buy one copy of Elder Scrolls. You're going to buy one copy of Starfield, whatever. So you can take that loss on all of those sales you would have made on PlayStation and make up for it in the fact that you're boosting the Xbox ecosystem and making it a more attractive place to play. So there's give and take there. Yes, you want exclusives because you want to give people a reason to buy Xbox. But on the other side of the coin, the reason to buy an Xbox is because even if these games aren't exclusive, they're all on Game Pass. So there's so many factors. There's so many ways to look at it. Where like, yes, maybe Starfield's going to be Xbox exclusive. Maybe that's the one strategic one that they make exclusive to give people a real reason. Like, I got to buy an Xbox for sure, or play it on PC, whatever. But there's just so many intricacies to it, and the way that Xbox has done business recently with not putting up these walls, with bringing cloud gaming and allowing games to be cross-play and fighting for that, and every Xbox exclusive game is also coming to PC. They're tearing down those walls, not building more. So again, I know Xbox fans are excited. I don't see it happening.
It's funny too. I feel like I've seen a lot of PlayStation fans on the internet be a little salty towards this. Be like, whatever, we still have God of War and Horizon and whatnot. I'm like, it's not about that. It's not about that. We've been talking about it for years. Xbox is playing a different game. It's not the exclusivity game. It's we want you to play Xbox Game Studios games, which is 34 studios deep now, by the way, with this purchase.
Wherever you play them.
They want you to play them wherever. They want that logo. They want you to think about Xbox and associate it with gaming synonymously. And that's what it is. And Phil Spencer has been upfront about that. And he's been upfront about this being the future with the streaming model of Game Pass. And he's been upfront about not wanting to build those walls, as you said, to have exclusivity unless it makes sense to do so. Starfield makes sense. Brain IP. Don't think you're going to see that with Elder Scrolls 6 and whatnot. But
Yeah, especially a company like Microsoft, Xbox right now that's built up so much goodwill. They have built up so much goodwill, and they are coming from so much turmoil with the Xbox One launch and everything like that. Why would they even take the chance to take away games like Fallout from the hardcore players that play on PlayStation and in Call of Duty, those annualized games that people expect every year? Just like at Minecraft, they didn't do it with Minecraft. Right, so it's just that's your first example. They bought Mojang when was it like 2013 or something like that. They bought that studio 2014. Yep. So they've owned Mojang for longer than that company existed by itself, or at least when Minecraft has been out. Like they didn't strip Minecraft from anybody, right? Like everyone can still play. Microsoft is playing a different game, and I know people love to get involved with the console wars and talk about exclusivity, and everybody wants their box to be the best, but it's not going to be that way.
It's just not a thing anymore. It's not, especially when you got the three major game companies. If you're talking about manufacturers and Sony, Xbox, / Microsoft, and Nintendo, they're all doing different things. And that's what makes this console generation so fascinating to me, to want to own all three systems. If you think about Disney Plus, Disney purchases Star Wars, Marvel, eventually 20th Century Fox, and all those IPs so that you would stream Disney Plus month to month and pay monthly for that subscription. Xbox is doing the same thing. They want you, hey, if you buy Call of Duty, whatever comes out next year and you play it on PlayStation, great. Microsoft's getting that cut. But you know what really makes it sweeter is if you're playing it on Game Pass and paying them for that monthly subscription service, which has long been a great value. No secret, a great value in gaming. But it's getting pretty crazy right now, how much of a value you're getting. And we can talk about price hikes and all that down the road, but right now, Microsoft has just been killing it. And you know what? This is good for gaming in general. Whether you're a Nintendo fan, a Sony fan, go down the list.
For sure.
This is so, yeah. The flip side, we can talk about it being a problem with too many big corporations buying big corporations, right? Like that's a whole different topic.
It is. I think it's worth bringing up. I mean, it's something that people get fearful with Disney. I mean, Disney owns a lot, especially once they finalized that 20th Century Fox purchase and they grabbed all of those IP. It's like, man, Disney really owns just about everything when it comes to like blockbuster franchises nowadays. So it's certainly something to talk about. And yeah, if Microsoft has too much control, it could be a problem. I'm not here to be a corporate apologist, but I trust Phil Spencer's vision and I trust what he plans to do with that. Let's not all act like Activision was a company that we were going to bat for the last couple of years, right? I mean, they've been making some really terrible decisions with games, and they've been ruining some of our favorite games, and not to mention the just absolutely abysmal work culture that we've been seeing, and all the people that have been coming forward with the harassment and the way they've been treated there. So obviously things have needed to change at Activision for a while. They've got a lot of very valuable IP. Who better than a company like Microsoft, who seems to just be doing everything right on the gaming front right now, to come in and right that ship. Again, if you're against this because you're worried that they have too much, I understand. I totally get it, but I gotta stay positive here and just hope for the best and expect the best because that's what they've given us.
My favorite part, possibly in all of this, is that Crash Bandicoot is now a product of X Games.
Whoa.
X Games.
Yeah.
they're doing crossover with Tony Hawk. It's unbelievable.
Radical. Yeah. They own that too.
Tony Hawk, by the way. John, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go play Spyro on my Xbox now. What?
You could already do that, couldn't you?
Yeah, I could, but it's a little more special now. Yeah, a lot of these have been cross-platform for a long time now, but
it's cool. I made a joke that Xbox could now make a fighting game with a roster of just IP that it owns that rivals that of Smash Ultimate. That roster, just stuff that we own. Just think about it. It's insane. We have Master Chief versus Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, and I'm not even thinking of all the other crazy things I'm sure that are out there. But man, they own a lot.
Oh my gosh, Doom Guy! It's just amazing. The list goes on and on, folks. John, two other small bits of news here before we wrap up. We got new trailers for Cuphead, the Netflix series that's coming next month, as well as Horizon Forbidden West.
And if
thoughts on either of those?
If I understand, you haven't watched either of those, correct?
I've not. I've read the news.
You're a fake gamer, man. Come on, you gotta stay up to date. Oh, just kidding.
No, Listen, I've not been shy about staying away from Cuphead. All right, I'm gonna get there eventually. Maybe I'll watch it first.
You know
That
what,
doesn't make any
dude?
sense.
So I'll start there. That Cuphead trailer. Oh my god. I am not. I don't have the eye for animation. I'm not an animation snob. I don't watch a lot of animation. So like when I see people say, "Oh my god," they can tell this is handcrafted and they're taking their time with it. I usually don't understand what people are talking about. Watch that Cuphead trailer and I'm like, I get it. I get it. This is insane. This looks like a moving painting. I don't know what they're doing here, what kind of trickery, what kind of magic is going on, but whatever they did to handcraft that show, it looks gorgeous. It looks like so much fun. I cannot wait. Watch the trailer. I promise you, you're gonna be blown away. That cannot come soon enough. Even if you don't care about Cuphead, it's just gonna be a fun little adventure. It looks super super cool.
All right, John.
So
Based on your recommendation, I will take a few minutes and watch it.
okay,
And also based on the strength of your recommendation for Life is Strange.
got it. So I redeemed myself. I didn't redeem myself. I'm just adding points to my recommendation list with you because I don't think I've missed yet. If I have,
Yeah, I was
correct
gonna
me.
say I don't think you needed to redeem anything.
No, I'm just stacking the cards here, and then Horizon Forbidden West, that trailer. It's a story deep dive, and again, it doesn't give you too much. It's more of just kind of like a where are we overview, and it's gorgeous. I can't wait. I guess maybe I missed this narrative, and I really haven't been diving too far into the coverage. I haven't been reading like the press releases going on the Sony's PlayStation blog because I don't want to know too much about the game. I want to see the trailers and see how pretty the game is, but like I also don't want to ruin anything for myself. But in this trailer, they kind of focus a little bit on having your allies play with you. Do we know if there is co-op in this game at all? I know that was a rumor early on. No.
I don't know.
I don't think they're supposed to be co-op. I don't think they're supposed to be that I know of. But the end of that trailer, like Aloy like recruits two of the people from the main story from last game, and they're like on missions with you, beating up baddies with you. So I don't know if that's like supposed to be a tease to open the game up for possible co-op or whatever, or just show you have a new dynamic that you're rolling with a crew now, so you've got some support. But that was interesting. And again, I could have just totally missed the narrative on that being mentioned before, but the game's gorgeous. I can't wait to play it.
All right, I guess I'll check out that trailer too.
Yeah, you should.
I'm excited for that game. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there's a lot I want to get off my plate before that comes out in about a month's time. So good stuff all around. Lots of news to discuss this week in the form, really, of the Microsoft Activision acquisition. That was a tongue twister, but
It is. We're going to be talking about that every week for the next. I mean, there's going to be something new coming out. We still haven't talked about the fact is Bobby Kotick going to stick around? What does that situation look like? We've seen on paper it looks like he's going to stick around and then it'll be reevaluated or whatever. We've seen sources say that no, he's going to be gone once the ink is dry. Well, there's a lot that's going to come out of this. So we'll be talking about that story for weeks to come.
It will be. That'll be a constant theme throughout the year 2022. Hit us again on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, youtube.com/thegeekiverse, or if you catch us streaming live at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. We want to hear from you, the community. This has been another good, if not rocky episode of
so I'm just gonna throw it out there. So
standpoint,
you've had some moments where you've been robotic a little bit, but you've been legible. So I didn't legible as if you're writing a paper. I didn't want to cut in too much just because like if you could see behind the scenes, and many people did on twitch.tv/thegeekiverse, but even beyond that, we've been having some brutal Discord issues today. We're gonna have to chop the show up like crazy. We recorded the question of the week like 3 times. I mean, we've been having some brutal issues, so please forgive us for Josiah's voice getting a little robotic throughout the end there. Discord just doesn't love us tonight. I think we're gonna still be able to put up a pretty good show, but issues happen. And thanks for sticking with us.
This is the one, John. We decided to go live with it, twitch.tv. Just, it is what it is. Just,
but I love it because that's good content. People were having a blast in the chat. Like, every time we tried to start recording, you would get bad again.
Oh, I'm always bad. That's the secret. So it's not quite to the point of us playing Overcooked on the live stream for Geeks Give Back, but there was some chaos going on for sure. John, wrapping things up before things get bad again. social media, and then anything to tease for the geek.
Yeah, you can find you literally said, John, before things can get in the words bad again, we're robotic. It's just so
Wait,
it's poetic at this point. I'm loving it. But yeah, so social media, you can find me at Disruptoid on all social media platforms. Come chat, let's hang out, let's talk. The biggest thing I think I want to focus on is we are going to start taking this Twitch thing a little bit more seriously. We've dabbled with Twitch. We had Busy Sticks used to exist on Twitch before it was a podcast. We did a couple of let's plays on there under this brand. But we're gonna dive in. So twitch.tv/the Geekiverse. You'll find myself, Tim Tales, maybe JT, a couple of us stream. Maybe we'll try to rope in Josiah, get him on a couple of streams as well. But we just plan to hop in like random weeknights. So follow us on Twitter at @the_Geekiverse. We'll throw out a tweet and like, hey, we're going live. We're playing this or that. So that's our next endeavor. We just want to have some fun with it. So please give us a follow.
Yeah, well said. Looking forward to a lot of great content there. Again, at the beginning of the show, we talked about our appearance next week for Busy Sticks. We're going to be recording with Greg Miller from Kind of Funny Games, and you'll be able to watch the show live on the Kind of Funny Twitch channel. And after that, you'll be able to watch it, as always, youtube.com/the Geekiverse, or listen to it on podcast services around the globe. We appreciate you joining, especially in the community conversation this week for the question of the week. Thank you for all of the feedback and participation. You really made that a lot of fun for us. Looking forward to some great responses next week to what studio Sony should theoretically buy in response to Xbox and Activision. For John, I'm Josiah. We will catch you next week. Have a wonderful evening.